that we do in terms of IVF, that's a subgroup with the best prognosis. Because we are dealing with younger women and we're dealing with younger eggs, the pregnancy rate is a lot higher than it would be for people undergoing IVF for other indications. So it goes up to 50 to 60% of cycles that we do will result in a baby being born. So egg donation in itself, as I said, is the success rate is slightly better than the other indications for IVF.
Okay, Suzette, talking of the pregnancy, how does a mom come to terms with the fact that she needs donor eggs in order to be able to conceive and to carry a child to term?
Well, it's a long process that she has to go through. Often these women have had a grueling series of IVF already.
Sure.
And there's a process of grieving that, you know, if they think about a possible child, they often think about attributes they themselves have, and they feel getting an egg from somebody else, they have to grieve the loss of their own. And that's a process and a mindset that the women will have. And often, you know, they are so thankful that they actually can have a baby, that these things become less important, but it's still need to be worked on with the person. And I just want to add here that they need input as well, because not all of these procedures are successful, isn't it, Doctor? And it can be very, very painful if they made the choice to have to receive an egg and this is not successful. So they need support through the process all the way.
Why would an egg donation not be successful?
I think that, like any other IVF, one must realize is that it is one cycle.
Sure.
You know, people trying to conceive try every month for a year.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's different reasons. One be it might not be good eggs. There might be a sperm problem. There might be a problem in the uterus. So in certain circumstances, there might be a real problem why they're not falling pregnant. In other cases, it might mean that that more than one procedure is needed before a pregnancy will result.
We've got some lovely SMSs that have come through. The first one reads, I will need to get an egg to have a second baby because of an accident I had. Will I love this child as much as my biological child? That's from Anonymous. Suzette, would you like to answer that, please?
Yes, you know, love isn't an instance. Love is a process. And the attachment grows, you know, the moment when you carry that baby and you think about this is because you only received an egg. The rest you're doing, you know, it's happening with your genes and with your input in the uterus. And, you know, when you have the baby, it's that, you know, touch and looking after the baby that grows the love.
Sure.
And we all that have babies know the first time you see your baby, it's a stranger to you.
Yeah.
But the more you treat the baby and caress it and what have you, the more the love comes.
The more you bond.
Motherhood is not producing an egg. Motherhood is really taking care of the baby.
Thank you so much for that, Jenny. I know that there's a lot of information that you gather about donors for potential recipients. But what does a potential recipient need to be thinking about? What criteria should she be setting up for herself and so that she can choose the right donor for her?
Well, like Jessica said, the process of donating an egg is a personal one. The same is true for a recipient. It's also very personal of what a recipient looks for in a donor. Most recipients will look for as close as possible a physical match, so they want blonde hair and blonde hair back in the family, or blue eyes, or slim build, or certain type of height.
Sure.
For other people, they're actually looking for qualifications. They want some form of professional background. They want intellect and IQ. Other people are looking for an affinity towards some type of trait or music inclination or something like that, or religious affiliation. So it's really a very personal decision. Other people are just looking for someone in Joburg who's donated before and she's available, or in Pretoria, or someone who's had children before. Or some people are looking for a donor who's donated before and has had children.
Okay.
So it's a very personal decision what And genetics are very complex, so it's very difficult to even guide a person.
So it's really personal.
You know, it's a very, very personal decision.
Okay, we've got one more SMS before we go to our ad break. The SMS reads, what will my contribution to the child be if the genetic makeup is already determined by the egg and the sperm? That's from Anonymous. Marinus, would you answer that one, please?
I think that we all know how a human being actually will end up. Genetics play a part, but the environment in which a child will grow up also plays a big part. So we all, even you are genetically different from your brothers and sisters.
Absolutely, yeah.
So in the end, the environment that the child grows up will have a huge impact on what the child will become in the end. So the upbringing of the child, where the parents comes in the end, plays a huge role in
shaping that individual.
In shaping that individual.
Okay.
And for me, looking at parents who had children born after egg donation or sperm donation, once that baby is born, you know, that's their child, and that child is brought up in their family and brought up as their own. And it's not a question of where the child comes from anymore. You know, even at the point the baby is born, you know, only 9 months after the procedure have been done, they've already almost forgot where the child have come from, in my opinion.
Suzette and Jenny, would you like to add? I mean, what Marinus is saying is that environment, nurturing plays a big role, that the DNA that you start with is only a part, a small part, in fact.
I totally agree, and that's also why South Africans like to keep it confidential, because it's a personal process and they don't want any further issues about the donation aspect. It's their baby in totality,
okay.
and that's the end of it for them.
Thank you. After the break, we'll answer more of your questions about egg donors. You can call us on 011-447-1742 or send us an SMS on 34970, and please remember to type in ETV before your message. Welcome back to Great Expectations. We are wrapping up what has been a fascinating talk today about egg donation. It certainly seems to be an incredible journey for both women involved in bringing a child into the world. Let's take some of your questions to fertility specialist Dr. Marina Stroh, egg donor agency owner Jenny Curry, and clinical psychologist Suzette Heath. We've got a question that's come via SMS. What are the medical concerns for the donor? What could go wrong with an egg donation?
Okay. I think that IVF as such, and it's part of the in vitro fertilization process today, is a very safe procedure. But there are certain things that one need to look at, and what one need to be careful about when we treat these people.
Sure.
And I think the first, with the stimulation part, people can get a condition which we refer to as hyperstimulation syndrome, where the actual egg donor or the person that was stimulated can make too many eggs, and from that can become ill and leak fluid into her abdomen and have fluid disturbances and electrolyte disturbances. This is a very rare condition, but it is something that we are very careful of. And if we stimulate specifically donors, we need to be very careful and not to give too much medication, to actually give lower doses, to actually have fewer eggs and good quality eggs, because they're young people. With the procedure itself, the aspiration procedure, there are risk for bleeding or infection in the ovary. That risk is said to be far less than 1 in 1,000.
Okay.
So it is a very small risk, but you know, before somebody goes into egg donation, all of these things we need to discuss it with them, and they need to be informed about that.
Sure. We've got another SMS for Jenny. From a legal and medical perspective, am I considered the biological mother if I have a baby through egg donation? That's from Jane.
The recipient will not be the biological mother because she hasn't contributed biologically or genetically, but she is the legal mother in all sense of the word.
Okay, okay. We've got another SMS for Suzette. It reads, we had a child via egg donation, but we're not sure if we should tell that child or our family and friends. What's your advice? That's from Anonymous.